But yeah, what flavor is it?
Blue mist, blueberry, and mint.
Yeah, so you don't get smoke like that at other hookah spots, you know?
Yeah, we've heard.
Oh, you hear that all the time?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, what's really good? It's your boy Dex, and welcome to the Perception is Key podcast. I'm here with Jay and B, co-owners, Hyer Hookah Lounge.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're here right now in the spot, Hyer Hookah Lounge. It's actually one of my favorite places to get hookah, honestly, just because of the quality of the hookah. Why hookah? What made you start off with hookah? What made you want to open up a hookah lounge?
Go ahead, bro.
Oh man, it goes back years. So me and my brother, we always had an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
And I mean, from like young adolescence.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we grew up, we went to school, got corporate jobs, but that desire for entrepreneurship never left.
Yeah.
And we used to just sit in my garage and just ideate on different business ventures. And we talked about opening up a lounge in the city to fit a niche that we felt wasn't being met, particularly for like young Black people, just to go somewhere and chill, like not to necessarily go to the club all the time and turn up. We were already hookah smokers beforehand. It's just the opportunity just lined up with the discussions we were having, and Hookah Lounge became available. We went, we saw it, and pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah, that's how long have you been doing the hookah lounge?
October will be 5 years.
Dang, congratulations, bro. That's big through COVID too, man.
Yes, we got shut down 5 months after we opened.
Yeah.
That's when COVID like hit to the point where they were telling non-essential businesses they had to close down.
Yeah.
So right when we were starting to get our footing, we gotta shut everything down for the first time was like almost 3 months.
Man,
Yeah.
that's crazy. What type of mindset? I know you said you've been doing it since you was a kid, like just thinking entrepreneurial stuff. Did you do like things like as kids, like lemonade stands or like mowing grass and stuff like that? Like what was your mindset then as a kid?
Yeah, we was doing everything. We was mowing grass, shoveling snow. We was movers, like landscaping, anything that people needed.
Yeah.
If we thought that it would make us a good return on that investment of time and labor,
Yeah.
we was down to do it.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. I think when I was a kid, I think what made me want to be an entrepreneur or wanted to do things like on my own is because I saw how hard my mom was struggling. And I remember when we had school clothes, you know, don't get mad at me, Mom, but we didn't get the best school clothes, you know what I mean? It was more, I think I had a pair of, they looked like Air Force Ones, but they was like Tommy Hilfigers, and she got them out of like Schottensteins or something like that. And I wore them like they were Air Ones, you know what I mean? So I was walking around with them, and I thought it was super dope that she, even though like we were going through hard times, she was still doing the best to like take care of us. So like my reason for and my motivation to like get it on my own was just to not have to put that burden on her. So that's kind of like where my motivation came from. And then yeah, so that's dope. I think that kind of gets instilled in you as a kid. You know what I mean? Somehow, some way. Yeah. Whether you see somebody you know, like that's growing up. I try, like I have cousins and I have friends and I have people, they all are on different levels, right? And I think the people that have moved or have gravitated or escalated, you know what I mean, and went to a higher level, all had examples of that. They could see somebody that was like them moving up, you know what I mean?
Right.
Did you have any examples like that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely had examples that were present, seeing them as business owners young. Like my father was a business owner when I was very young. So just seeing that was always instilled in me. And honestly, a lot of it was seeing people who were doing it, but they weren't doing it the right way. And being able to marry the desire to be an entrepreneur, to have my own business, but then I also had the schooling attached to it as well. So not only did I have a mind to want to start it, I knew how to effectively start a business. So that just further solidified that when I was in college, I was like, at one point in time in my life, like I gotta go all in to try and build something from the ground up. Even if it's not as successful, like Hyer is not my first business venture.
Right.
I've done other things, had other brick and mortar locations in different sectors, and they all, didn't go, not saying they didn't go in my favor, but they failed at some point.
Yeah.
But those were learning lessons and continue to prove to me like, yo, you can do this, you just gotta keep trying.
Yeah.
And honestly, like a lot of the people that we look at and revere highly, like the top, like the Elon Musk and these type of people, they had repeated failures before they got their first win. So I knew that I was going in the right direction. I just had to keep finding something, and Hyer has been what it is right now.
Yeah. I feel the same way, man. And a lot of my friends, or a lot of people that I talk with on a regular basis, sometimes I forget that you got to have that mindset where you just jump. You know what I mean? And when I say jump, I mean it's just like don't be afraid to fail. It's kind of like hollering at your first girl that you ever met. You're like, man, what if I say the wrong thing?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you just got to go. If you fail, you fail. At least you learn from it,
Right.
and then that's gonna help build a better business in the future.
Definitely.
You said you had other like businesses and stuff. Like, what else have you done?
Like I said, me and bro, even back when we were younger and we were cutting grass, shoveling snow, like we ran it like a business. It wasn't just something to say, okay, let's just get a few dollars. Like we tried to plot out like the neighborhood we lived in. We was like, all right, well, what streets can we possibly go to and charge them a little bit more because they a different part of the neighborhood. They might have a little more money, or so we thought. So it started there throughout college. I mean, just a lot of just selling stuff like eBay. I've been on that since a teen, just selling anything I can get my hands on it. I thought I could get return on.
Yeah.
Flipping sneakers. I had a sock business at one point in time. I was making custom socks. I had a play cafe that was up in Gehenna, which was like a indoor playground for children. So those are just a few of the things. Like outside of that, there was always other businesses I might jump into and say, all right, I'm in this for a couple months. It's not for me, and I got out. I'm not gonna go into all that detail, but
Right.
yeah, those are the main ones the main businesses I did before I landed on Hyer.
Right. I try to tell people all the time too, like, kind of like what you were saying about how like you jumped into a business and then jumped out of. I tell people this all the time because like I'm a manager at a warehouse, so like when I talk to people, I try to inspire them to be bigger than a warehouse. Because like we understand we're here to just make the business run, everything like that. I tell them treat yourself like an independent contractor at all times. So you're here to gain some experience, utilize that experience to build on and get to a better place. So sometimes being an entrepreneur means being able to find a way to work yourself up in whatever environment you're in, whether it's a warehouse, whether it's a retail business where you're just working for somebody else. You can work your way up to management. Now you have management experience, and now you can take that management experience and go somewhere else. Take that management experience, learn from a different place, and then utilize all that experience to build on your own business if you want to. Not everybody set out and built for the entrepreneurial life. Because like you said, it takes a lot of sacrifice, it takes a lot of planning, it take a lot of mindset. And speaking about mindset, man, what's that mindset that you have when you go into like opening up a brick and mortar or entering a business? Like it's just
mindset in regards to like why to start it or
what's the mindset that took you outside of the norm where most people don't necessarily. They might have like the want to do it. Like everybody wants to have success, and like I said, success is measured in different ways. But like what says, hey man, this is what you have to do if you want to open up a successful brick and mortar, and what things do you have to have in line? You think business school took you to that next level?
Yeah, definitely. What I learned in school took me to the next level.
Yeah.
Just to be able to do things like balance sheets. Profit and loss statements, cash flow statements, being able to project things out. That helped me immensely, especially with Hyer, because like I said, we were 5 months in and had to shut down. Well, if I would have never forecasted how much cash I needed, because in my mind, like, and bro testified to this story as well, when we first opened, we didn't really know how it was gonna go. We thought we had a good idea that was different from anything else in the city. So we get to our grand opening and it's packed,
Yeah.
like wall to wall.
Mhm.
We looking at each other like, yo, this is it. Like we found it.
Right.
Literally the week after, nobody showed up.
Mm.
And so because I had this business acumen to say, all right, I planned for that to happen. We need X amount of money in cash, like to sustain us, because you still got electricity, you still got to pay rent, like all of these things. You got staff, you still got to pay them. They don't care if, oh, you was busy one week and wasn't busy the next week.
Right.
So yeah, having that knowledge definitely helps to keep us in a good place throughout COVID and just the ups and downs of owning a business, because everything isn't always booming.
Yeah, that's true. I told so like with warehousing, obviously I could talk about that all day. I used to work for like a really small company, right? And no matter how busy it was, they would let us stay all day because they knew if you sent somebody home early or you didn't pay them what they needed, to survive, they were gonna do what you had to do for survival, find another job. So then now you're looking at, I don't have anybody to be here, so how can I make money? So like, yeah, that's super important. I was scrolling through your Instagram and I noticed you play football and sports, and I know I played a little bit of sports growing up. I felt like sports kind of gives a foundation to like, discipline and things like that. How do you feel like sports has done for y'all? You were in sports as well?
Yeah, I played sports.
Yeah. How do you feel like that, I guess, brought that motivation for you to continue and move forward in life?
I would say just playing sports, it allowed you to kind of build some self-confidence, especially as you get good, or people view you as good.
Yeah.
And then you start to believe, okay, I can do this. So that's one element of it. And then two, just how to treat people, how to interact with people, because now you around people of different ages, different demographics. So, everybody got a different background. Some people playing because they family forced them to play. Some people playing because they don't want to be in the streets. Some people playing because, they want to progress to another level. So for me personally, I think sports helped me, one, just believe in my own self more. Two, also kind of let you escape, some of the things you got to deal with in life, especially being like a minority male, in the times we live in. So that's one of the main things I've learned from sports, but also how to interact with people. And like you said, success is different for everybody. That's one of the things that I preach a lot to my teams at work. Success looks different for everyone, but being able to interact with people, being able to motivate people, I've learned a lot of that through sports, because you're dealing with people that, have different issues or different things that are going on mentally. So playing sports has just allowed me to kind of also expand my reach to people. Maybe I wouldn't have met you if we didn't play football or hoop together or something like that. So then you take that and then you look at, okay, now the conversations are easier to have with people. So now it's okay, you cool, you play football, all right, we might view you as good, others might view you as good. Okay, now how do you take that and market yourself? So it's just an extension of your brand, whether it's personally or professionally in a sense.
You feel like being an individual is your brand too, right? You have to.
Yeah, you have to definitely have an individual brand, but at the same time, when you're in business, it's not just Justin with Hyer, it's Justin and Brandon and Hyer. So part of that individual brand is, okay, what am I good at within the role of the business? And then how do I help, maximize that opportunity and the potential with the business? And so I have to still carry myself a certain way. I can't be out here, I play sports, but a lot of our games are recorded. Somebody on TikTok. So if I'm screaming or yelling or whatever, they just gonna say, oh, he played football, but he also part of Hyer. Now they just look at the whole brand in a certain way. So, having a brand, it doesn't just impact you. Your decisions impact others that are associated with that brand. And knowing what my brother did to make this brand, one, become established in 2019, and two, still be, sustained and still running, then I have to take that seriously, so I have to you know, I can't make decisions that's going to affect both of us. And that's like with a sports team. If you do something that's, you know, detrimental to the team, they just see the player and team name, you know what I'm saying? So now, you know, if a player got in trouble or did something, now other players at the press conference, at the interviews, they're getting asked about that. And then you're getting, you know, you have to like comment in a way that's not going to be detrimental to the team, yourself, or the player as well. So it all goes hand in hand, theoretically.
How you feel about Colin Kaepernick and then, you know, Kyrie Irving? Like, you feel like it impacted their teams and that's why they had to make those decisions?
I mean, I feel like personally, like, I respect what those gentlemen did because everyone has their own, you know, things that they believe in, things that they're strong for. I understood Kaepernick message and point. I think it's sad that he lost his career over it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could like handle things differently. You can, you know, kind of maneuver differently, but you also understand it from a business standpoint. You're an owner of a team. They don't want the bad press. They view it as bad. I'm not even saying necessarily it's bad. They don't want the questions. They don't want the bad press.
Right.
They don't want it to be a distraction to the team. And when you have, you know, a 90-man roster in training camp, you know, unfortunately that can be a distraction. So it's sad that, you know, he had to lose his career over there. But that's just the times we live in, unfortunately.
And I think that's where like having a mentor comes in.
Yeah.
I kind of respect that as brothers, y'all are doing this together. I don't have any brothers. I got sisters though, so I gotta get better at that. You know what I'm saying? Like including them in my endeavors. I feel like my sisters are entrepreneurs as well. A little bit about my entrepreneurial like journey. So I used to live in Virginia. I grew up in Virginia. I moved out here in the middle of my senior year. So when I got out of high school, in Ohio could get real stagnant. I think the winters really do it for me. You know what I mean? Kind of put me in a place where I don't want to be active or wanted to do anything. But I got to the point where it was like 2008 where the market crashed, and I was like, man, I got to do something. You know, I'm not making enough money, and you know, I gotta find something that's gonna better my life. So my dad helped me move to Houston, and I got a job out there. One thing about Houston though is it's a big city. There's a lot to do. If you want to have fun in Houston, you got to have some money. You got to have a little bit of money, at least some play money to have fun with. And I realized that, man, I barely had enough money to take care of bills out there in Houston. So it was tough. So just, you know, I know I have like a lot of talent. I know how I have a brilliant mind to make anything happen. Anything I want to do, I can learn it. They don't call it YouTube University for no reason, right? So anything I want to figure it out, I'll figure it out. So I started saving money the best way. Like, you know, I had car troubles, I would learn how to fix them myself. But I picked up a camera and I just started shooting photography at car meets. And was able to make a little bit of money, like shooting people's cars and whatnot. But I started making t-shirts and then I went from making t-shirts to making stickers. I made a lot of money making stickers because everybody wanted stickers for their cars at the car meets. And I would just take whatever environment I was in and figure out, you know, something I like. I like stickers, so that's why I went into it. I guess when you like something and it's your passion, it's easy to do. And went from that to using that camera to shoot video. And then start shooting music videos because Houston has so many people trying to do something big in music, and it's its own little city. You know what I mean? It's like one thing about Houston is 4 million people. It's probably more than that now. Everybody's moving down there. But with 4 million people, you can pretty much be an artist there and never leave Houston and be successful. You know what I mean? And that's one thing about Houston that I really love, that it has its own ecosystem and it has its own culture. So one thing that I shot music videos for people just coming up, and I would just make money that way. And I just kept pushing and pushing. When I came to Ohio, it got slow. I came back to Ohio, it got slow again. I was just like, I don't know what it is about Columbus. And then I just was like, I'm just gonna take that Houston mentality and just bring it here, and then start developing things here, and then doing things here, and then boom, now you got a podcast. So 100%. The same way that I came up, I wanted to get y'all individual like journey through you know, your successes and how you got here.
When you say got here, like far as Ohio?
Well, just I mean, yeah, everything, man.
I'll say like, growing up, like it was cool. We grew up in Chicago or whatever, so you see, it's different than now with technology and internet and everything. But we had a good experience. I was fortunate to have a big brother that was, on a good path. We was in a neighborhood where we played sports, both of us, so nobody really like bothered us. We didn't have no issues with anyone, but the entrepreneurial mindset, you knew like, okay, you got to get some type of post-high school education in a sense. So I was fortunate because my brother went to OSU.
Okay.
But I was still in high school. So I knew like, okay, my brother went to college. I know I can go to college, or I gotta go to college, or whatever in a sense. And so me choosing to go to University of Iowa, it was different just because one, it was a culture shock, but two, you got to see like different vantage points to your earlier point about just seeing how people think. And once I was able to kind of see that, that allowed me to, really focus on, getting out of school, not just getting through school, but graduating and getting out of school and trying to be successful in a sense. So I studied economics with concentration in finance because I knew I wanted to work in banking. It was a recession during that time as well. So the first career opportunity I had out of college was to work as a claim adjuster. And that was beneficial because it showed me how to like interact with people that you never gonna meet because they're just on the phone. You learning some compliance laws, some different rules when it comes to driving and things like that. But I was still had a drive to work in banking though. That was always my primary goal and objective. And I didn't want to like work in like, I like what personal bankers did, but I didn't want to sell somebody on products. So I got, hey bro, I need you to open the 5 accounts for me or whatever. Like, I didn't want that to be my life in a sense. So I had an opportunity to go to Texas with JP Morgan, but they froze the job. So then my brother was telling me like, hey, it's a good economy out here. It's growing, it's a lot of jobs, so you should look out here. And he was already out here and was pretty well connected. So I knew that, okay, I at least got my bro out here, so I'll be good. So I ended up moving out here April of 2012 and was able to work and play football, and then was able to progress within my career within banking. So I work in like financial crimes in a sense like that. So I was able to do that, and then we were still entrepreneurial spirited and driven. And then you fast forward, and now Hyer's here, and now, all right, like to my brother's point earlier, like grand opening, it's packed. All right, now that next week, it's like, all right, now what do we do to, generate revenue and build our client base, build our brand in a sense. So I'll say, pivoting back to an earlier point about when you asked Brandon about school, like schooling helped with that to me because like studying economics, like my main interest was in the microeconomics because that's about like consumer behavior, consumer spending, what's their willingness to pay, things like that. So it all kind of, comes full circle when you put it all together in a sense like that.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm missing, honestly. I didn't go to school, so I kind of feel like I'm really good at making things happen, but as far as the business side, I suck. Like, I'm really bad at it.
You said YouTube University earlier. You can do YouTube, you got every surprise.
Yeah, I need to get active on that for sure, man. But I would say talking to y'all about this is definitely inspiring me to get in that mode and figure out the business part about it. And I'm already 1 foot in, but I'm gonna get there eventually. I think a lot of people in life right now, like we live check to check, you know what I mean? I was talking to one of my best friends, and he was telling me, and I never really thought about it like this, but when we were younger, we were making enough to pay bills and, maybe go out, have a couple of drinks and hang out with friends, or maybe travel to another city and hang out for a little bit. But we weren't really saving, you know what I mean? We were living beyond our means. We were just trying to fit in with the crowd and things like that. So I think once we started making more money, we felt like, oh, we could do more things. And I think that's kind of like where people are right now in life. Like most people you know, they'll level up. They'll make more money, but they still got that check to check mindset from when they were younger and had to survive. And now they put themselves in a hole just because of that check to check mindset. I have a friend that's really big in finances, and he preaches, man, throw something in your savings account, but also invest. How are y'all with investments? Is that something that you are big into, or are you just like what's your mindset with that?
Yeah, I mean, you have to invest. It's a must.
Excuse me.
I mean, kind of like my brother, like I went to school, Ohio State University, and majored in finance. And when you see how a lot of these conglomerates move in regards to money, you got to take those same principles and apply them to your life. Like you made the comment earlier, working at the warehouse, and you tell your associates, you got to think of yourself as an independent contractor. And you got to have that same mindset. Even if you're getting a check repetitively, you got to be like, all right, well, I'm the CEO of my life, and I have to manage this in a way, the same way a large business would. So yeah, you got to put money to the side, savings, investing, whatever your avenue is. I'm not going to give any type of investment advice. I'm not going to spill the sauce, but you have to invest. But I would say even more so, you have to always be thinking about how do you get another stream of income? Because that's what it really comes down to. You can work a job for 20, 30 years. At some point, you're gonna plateau. You're gonna get, even if you make it to like upper management, all right, well, you ain't gonna make it to CEO. Yeah. So now you're in upper management. If you still got that check to check mentality, you making hundreds of thousands of dollars every year, but you still low key broke, and you don't have anything else coming in. So for me, it was, yes, investing, but trying to find different ways to make money that I don't have to be as active in. I work a full-time job. I'm here Hyer. Okay, all my other things that I do on the side are things that I don't have to touch as much, that are just gonna bring in income. And even if it's not a large amount of income, well, I'm the CEO of my life, right? So I've already set my life up to only survive off of a certain amount of money. So as this money is trickling in from whatever my other side hustles are, that money just goes somewhere and I don't see it. And maybe I'll check it quarterly, maybe I'll check it biannually, and I'll be like, oh shoot, like you got a nice chunk of money just sitting there. I don't think a lot of people have that mindset. Like they'll say, I want to be an entrepreneur, but the reason you want to be an entrepreneur is so you can quit your job. Yeah. That's not really gonna work out for you, because you're gonna probably quit your job, become an entrepreneur, and 9 times out of 10, it's probably gonna fail just off of basic statistics of people that start businesses, on top of the fact that you in a different mindset when you work in side hustle, whatever you wanna call it. When you working there, you saying, I gotta eat off of this. You might make different business decisions. You might cut corners in order to make more money sooner. All that stuff comes back around. Like everything is cyclical in business.
Mm-hmm. So like you feel like being in survival mode while starting a business is like crazy, is detrimental?
I think you have to be in survival mode like for the business itself, but you don't want to strain the business to say, okay, I'm in survival mode for the business, but I'm also in survival mode for myself. That can be a nasty recipe. And not to say that it doesn't work for some people, but it definitely worked for me to still have streams of income coming in while we had Hyer. Because in months when we weren't like booming, we had like people would come to us with opportunities, like, oh, they trying to do like a certain type of night, and it was completely against what I thought the vision for Hyer was. Now, what if I needed that extra money in order to make the rent, or I needed that extra money so that we can pay ourselves? Well, I probably would have went ahead and did that event, and who knows what that would have turned into. Like, how would the reputation of Hyer change as a result of that? So it kind of got to be both, but you don't want to depend so much on a newly formed business to supply your lifestyle.
Most definitely, man. That was a bar for sure. Yeah. On my podcast, I do a lot about relationships and dating, because I feel like relationships are a big part of people's lives in general, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a romantic relationship. It could be, you know, relationships between family, you know, like y'all have. But it could also be like business relationships. But being in a situation where you have so much time allocated to the things that you have going on, do you find it difficult and hard to have a relationship?
Yes. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of time. Relationships in general take a lot of time. Not just, you know, relationships like, oh, me and a woman, but me and my friends, me and my like colleagues. It impacts all of that. And it's easy to say, like to my friends, hey, I'm starting a business, I'm about to be off the grid. They're a little more understanding. It's not so easy. I'm talking like us as men. It's not so easy to go to your girl and say, yeah, I'm about to start a business and I'm not going to be available any weekends for the next 5 years. Because that's what it was for us. Mm-hmm. Most women not going for that. I mean, not to say it's not possible to build something, but it definitely takes a lot of attention and focus when you starting your own thing. And if you don't have somebody by your side that is not just helping you in the sense of, oh, do you need me to do something, but help you in the sense of, all right, I know I got to get out the way for a little bit. Most relationships won't work.
I think sometimes you need just somebody just to believe in you in that place. Like, man, you're doing this. I'm so proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Say just little things like that will make you feel good about it. And then actually give you more motivation to like try to make that success, you know, happen. Not for just you, but for the both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know for a fact that I think my last relationship, I stopped everything and just focused on the relationship. You know what I mean? And had my main gig, and then I realized that you still got to be the driver in your own car. You know what I mean? You can't just park. You got to still drive that car. So I think at the end of the day, women gravitate to you for where you're at right now. You know what I mean? And if you stop doing what you're doing, you kind of like push them away, and then you wasted a whole bunch of time in that process. So if you could find somebody who is there to support you, you know, mentally, but also have understanding, I think that's a big win. But it's definitely few and far in between.
It's very difficult. It's easy to start off, like when you, to your point, when you start off, you in a relationship, you know, your girl's gonna be like, oh, I'm so proud of you, you do your thing, like, this is beautiful. But as time goes on, like, she's gonna have a different, like, you might have a projection in your mind to say, all right, I need to be locked in on this for X amount of time. Her projection is probably different. Yeah. And so that's when the disconnect starts happening. She's like, all right, I'm still proud of you and everything, but I got needs too. Right. And that's fair. But if it's not that open communication and open understanding, like you said, either the relationship is going to fall off or you're going to sacrifice what you should be doing in order to cultivate the relationship. And not saying that one is wrong, but you're going to have to make a decision. You're not going to be able to do both at the same time, or you run yourself thin.
For sure. When we were talking about just like sacrificing, I know we sacrifice for the business, but how do you sacrifice for your mental health? Do you ever like take time out? Like, what's some of your hobbies outside of sports? You know what I mean? That gets you in a mode that makes you feel like, all right, this right here is helping me reset and get back on the grind.
Yeah, I would say like sometimes like being here is like good for my mental health because like I don't like just sitting around like doing nothing. So it's like when I'm here, it's like, especially with me understanding like sometimes like some of the strengths, just interacting with people, so building relationships and stuff like that. So then they comfortable. Like we've been in like a unique space. Like sometimes we might be out or whatever, and people be like, "Y'all want to open up?" Or we might be closed, and people will hit us up like, "Would y'all open up for this event or open up?" So that goes into the relationships that we've built. Now I pivot that into like the mental health aspect. To me, it's good just to be able to like be consistent, be relevant, keep the brand relevant and going, but keep it with. To my brother's earlier point, whereas we're not jeopardizing the brand either. So mentally, it's like I think about those things as well, And then as far as escaping, a lot of times so to get outside of sports, like playing football, I just can like completely become a whole different person.
Yeah.
And then it's because it's one thing to be on a team, then it's one thing to have an impact on a team, then it's one thing to kind of live up to like the hype and brand of your name on that team. And so that allows me to like escape mentally, but also going to the trails, going to the gym. But the trails, like being outside, like it sucks now because like cold, so I can't like hit the trails or kind of disappear. But like just being outside with the fresh air, seeing the scenery, that's really good.
You ever go camping?
I haven't done camping. I mean, we went to like Hocking Hills, and we was in the cabin, but we was in no tents though. I can't do no tents though.
You might want to try it. I did it for the first time. I'm 37. I did it last year when I was 36. First time. I'm kind of hooked now. Yeah.
Yeah, just the camping part, laying on the ground and stuff, be kind of a little, probably not necessary, something I probably considered.
It'll blow up, man.
But, you know, I do like being like outdoors in the woods, but not like just woods, but where it's like trails, you got some scenery.
Yeah.
You can just kind of like relax. Like, we went to when we went to Hocking Hills, we went to Old Man's Cave.
Yeah.
Went to Old Man's Cave or whatever, and it was like I was laughing initially because I'm like, you just be yourself out here. You know what I'm saying? And so things like that, and then like honestly, like spending time with my kids, that's like good because it's like it's something that's motivating and driving. So I have to keep a good mental because I have to make sure that yes, they might understand like life happens. But I have to keep my mental together so I can be there to support them in all the ways that they need as well.
Be the best version of yourself around them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything. Like being in nature is a must. I'm more of a recluse than my brother is, so as to where he comes here and gets like energy, I generally come here and leave drained. So I do need to take my breaks from time to time just to be in solitude. But generally when I am by myself, it's definitely, somewhere outdoors or like physical activity, not just sitting up in front of a television.
Yeah.
Spending time with my kids is paramount. Music is paramount. Like I started DJing as a result of us opening Hyer, which has been really a lifeline for me because I just grew up around music. I grew up playing the drums from like 10 years old. And then when we opened here, I couldn't play as much because we here all weekend. So being able to DJ was my creative, I guess, outlet.
Yeah.
So that's definitely helped my mental health.
Okay. For me, man, I think I do a lot of traveling. So I like to travel. I like to just, I'm a beach bum being from Virginia, so I just like the water. Mm-hmm. So anywhere with blue water is great, even though Virginia got the dirtiest water ever. Well, at least my part did. Shout out to Buckrow Beach. And then I'm a big movie buff, man. I think something that we all got in common is that escape, portion of it. Mm-hmm. So if I could watch a movie, I kind of get a chance to escape into that movie for even an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how long the movie is, right? I think just finding that mental escape. But then, I've been really getting in touch with nature lately. So, I'm glad y'all said that. I think for Black people in general, I think we tend to, shy away from nature with your camping content. I mean, your comment. Yeah, but,
I don't like nature. Unless it's the beach or something like that. Like, you're trying to be on a tropical whatever. It's so much nature out here. And it really, for me, it makes me realize as much as I like to make this seem like this is a big thing, like it's really minuscule. Like it means a lot to me, but in the grand scheme of things, this is a blip on the radar. So it helps me to appreciate this more when I see these things outside of myself that are like, dang, it took 1,000 years for this cave to be created through wind and sediments moving through and kicking up against rocks and making this big hole in a rock. So nature, us as Black people, we gotta get to reconnect with nature.
For sure. I think I want to do a skydiving class.
Oh, I can't get that. I do the indoor skydiving. I ain't
Right.
jumping on the plane.
Nah, we'll see the video and thumbs up. Yeah, you on your own. Man, no. I can't do no skydiving, hot balloons, none of that.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'll tell you my bad. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just say like the nature point. Like I think it is good for like Black people, minorities. A lot of times I used to look at it like, oh, we outside in the woods, but I looked at it more for like, oh, you just out there hunting or something, not like you get to have an appreciation like for just the way it look. And Columbus has a lot of places you can actually like disappear to and go have a good time. And the good time is just refreshing for your mental, not like, not out in necessarily a public setting, but although it's public space, but you can really just escape and have a good time. And it's not like, because I used to be like, oh, I can't be in the woods all day. But once you get out there, it's just like, man, you don't even want to leave. And a lot of times I equate it to like how people would explain going golfing. Like you just out here having a good time, and then you look up and 4 hours went by. But so that's how I started looking at it. Like, okay, it's obviously that's a sport, it's more physical, but you're still getting good, cardio in, you still building your physical endurance, your mental endurance. So it's definitely good for you.
Yeah. How you feel your responsibility to your children affects your life, and makes you a better individual?
You want to go first, bro?
That's a deep question.
It is.
I could say I really all the way don't have an answer yet because, me being a father, like I had, I felt like it was gonna go a type of way and it hasn't gone that way. And so it just showed me like I really don't know anything when it comes to being a father. Like the best thing that I can do is just put them in positions to succeed, and not put so much pressure on them to think like, yes, they're an extension of me, but they're their own person as well. Yeah. And the more that I realize that, the more I kind of have a hands-off approach. Like even with my son, like he has certain traits that I remember having as a child, and those traits frustrate me as an adult. And so I try and like work him out of those things, and it's not working. And I realize that, it's not for me to do that. It's for me to allow him to evolve and just to put him in circumstances to be a better man than I am. And as simple as that. Same thing with my daughter, to just put her in situations so that she can grow up to be an astounding woman. And that's really all the advice I got when it comes to parenthood, because I don't know anything.
Yeah, I could say the same, man. I would say for me personally, I think like you were saying, like there's nothing I could do to change this child. But the only thing I can't, like, because they're gonna have their own experiences. They're growing up different than I am. She's navigating the world differently. But when she does have these experiences, or she does go through these situations, I think it's a really good. I feel like I should be a very good outlet for her to come to, so I can explain things to her and give her a different perspective on how to view things. And when some kid is in school bullying her, I can say, hey, look, not every kid grew up like you and had opportunities to be in a loving household. Mm-hmm. So they just got a lot of things going on outside of school, and they just really can't understand how to express themselves in school. Mm-hmm. So you just got to really take your time with those kids and don't necessarily allow them to bully you, but at the same time understand that, man, not everybody has the same life. So
yeah, that's part of like that, creating that environment.
Yeah.
Because to your point, like we was raised a little bit different.
Yeah.
Where it's like somebody bullying you, you better show them why they need to stop bullying you, and not consider like there are sets of circumstances that person has gone through that is causing them to behave the way they are towards you.
Yeah.
Like when you start viewing that, it kind of takes you outside of yourself, and not be so tied into like, oh, well, why are they doing that to me? Or why are they doing that to my child?
Yeah.
Like, nah, teach them like, some people aren't going to treat you right. They're not going to treat you fair. Right. Life's not fair. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Man, so I had a kid young.
Yeah. How young?
20.
Okay.
So I was in college. So my oldest son, he's 16. So it's a little different dynamic for me now because it's like I have to, you know, be a little bit more realer with him because his life trajectory is different than like a lot of kids because he plays sports. So I'm trying to educate him on, you know, girls, you know, decisions that, you know, education, the importance of that, what, you know, opportunities you have, but not forcing you. Like I never forced him to play basketball. I never forced him to play football. I just naturally let him do it. And so the dynamic with him is really good. It's really interesting. You know, he, you know, is a good kid. He doesn't have some of the challenges maybe some other kids might have, but he also has me and his uncle, my brother, to talk to, interact with, get different perspectives on. And so I would say with him, it's a lot different than my younger kids because like my younger kids live in Columbus, so I have a little bit more access to them, to them on the, you know, personal level as far as like physically being able to be there. I think like I try and let them have their own personalities, but at the same time, you know, keep them encouraged, speak positive to them. It's different having my daughter too, because like having a daughter is like so different. So sometimes it seems like she gets like a little bit more favorable treatment. Or she does get a lot more favorable treatment. They all get they all get everything they ask for most times. But so I used to like only take like, so she'll pick where they all go to eat. But then I started rotating it. So they didn't all, so the other ones, so I have, in Columbus, I have 2 girls, 2 boys. So they're all, or whatever. So
you were active, man. You can slow down.
I mean, they all live in the same household and everything. Yeah. So just try and make sure like they all feel love. I used to struggle with like, man, how do you love all kids equally? Because sometimes I only see her. Yeah. And then it's like, but you just realize like they all need love differently. You know, she needs more love just because to me, you know, the times we live in, you want to have your, especially daughters, you want them on a different path mentally, not what you see, you know, what's going on a lot in some of the cultural, you know, hiccups we deal with. So just realizing that they own, you know, they all got their own individuality. The difference with my younger kids though is that they all love the computers. They all love Roblox. They, you know, they're not like picky where like, oh, I want this, I want that, far as like shoes, clothing. So, you know, I can get them. I just call them the Nike kids. Like that's like I go to the outlet, get y'all a bunch of stuff, let y'all be happy, and then just trying to speak, really just speaking positive into them. Like, you know, you can make something out of yourself if you do this. And then trying to keep them presentable so their confidence is up. You know, parents sacrifice a lot, and you give up a lot financially because in the Black community, we all want our kids to be better than us, you know, and have more than us. But you gotta be careful with that because it's like, eventually they'll get on their own. And if you don't teach them about being clean, being neat, saving, like my daughter, she has, my oldest daughter, the younger one, she's like, she's 5, so she's still like, you know, she can be held, picked up, but she trying to, you know, be in the space with the older ones too. But like my oldest daughter, like she'll be like, oh, can I get some Roblox? And I'll get her a couple gift cards. And then she'll be like, well, I saved one of them. So like, it's just interesting seeing the different dynamics. To your point, like kids are gonna naturally be smarter now because they have technology, you know, so they can add, they can think, or even their word choices where they'd be like, actually, or, you know, just different terms that they use. So it's a interesting dynamic, but sorry, I'm being long-winded.
No,
but,
take your time.
loving them all the same was like one of the biggest challenges. And I don't know if other parents struggle with that, but I think like as Black men having daughters, you just kind of view it differently. And then it was like your first, like you only have one daughter.
I have one daughter.
I wouldn't make it if I just have if I just have my daughter, oh man, like she'd be with me everywhere. You know, and she'd probably be glued to me. But it's just a difference when you have, you know, because a lot of times like it's like as Black men, we have like these dynamics where like, all right, you got a good mom, maybe you got these relationships where like at some point you wrong, there's some type of clash and collision, but when you got a daughter, it's like, okay, this is a woman too.
Yeah.
It's a different relationship, but you never wrong. You every superhero in the world to them, you know, and trying to live up to that. So, you know, I don't want to like, I could talk forever about it. So
yeah, that's good though. That's good. I feel like that's like when I said I could pour in and talk about my daughter all day, I think that's just a reflection of like how much we value our relationships with our kids. Yeah. But for me, I think just because I have a daughter and I don't know the different dynamics of having a son. My friends have sons, and I'm able to be like a big uncle to them. You know what I mean? And that's pretty cool. But for my daughter, I think it's just showing her how to like the type of man that she should be looking for, trying to like be that example for her. Yeah. But also try to balance that with, like you said, the responsibility aspect of like saving and being tidy and being clean and making sure that you're taking care of yourself and not like letting that stuff get away from you. But also, you know, the way I interact with other people, I know she realizes that, sees that. So like if I'm in a group setting, like I'm at my cousin's house or I'm at a friend's house and she's around, she could see the way I treat them, and she could use that in her personal life with her friends and things like that, you know, and try to be a good host or be a good friend. So yeah, man, just leading by example is the only thing I could think of. And you're right, like, man, we had an idea like what a father's supposed to be like, or, you know, because like we grew up, you know what I mean? And we've had those examples, whether it's from our own fathers or it's from Uncle Phil or Carl Winslow, you know what I mean? Whatever we saw on TV. At the end of the day, man, I think it's super important to just be an example. Continue to work on your personal life, because your personal life is going to bleed into the person you're going to be for your kids. And then also just be there. I think time is more important than Roblox gift cards or shoes, because like you said, they just want to be around you. Yep. And it's pretty cool that at least she knows what restaurants to pick, because when I ask a female where she want to eat, I don't know.
I try to get them out. Like, spend a lot of time with them, but they like, you know, kids love them chicken nuggets, man.
Right. Yeah, you can't get away from that.
And pancakes and, you know, regular kitty stuff, but yeah.
I tell people all the time, man, like, I don't want my daughter to be okay with just Wendy's, man. We got to get some good food in you, some lobsters and, you know, steak or something, you know what I mean? But we'll get there eventually.
You got to take them on, like, Kona Grill, get them a little bento box, some chopsticks. I do that, too.
Yeah.
You know, they... Like you said, give them some good experiences young.
For sure. For sure, man. Well, I definitely appreciate y'all, man. I didn't really have too much to talk about, but I definitely appreciate the conversation, man.
Appreciate you.
I applaud y'all, Hyer Hookah. But most definitely some really solid individuals, man. And I think that's super important, just to be able to link and connect. I think community is huge. I think fellowship is huge. I love having conversations. I love fellowship. So I really appreciate y'all giving me a couple, you know, hours of your time just to have a good conversation on the Perception is Key podcast, man.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
If y'all ever need anything from me, or if there's anything I could do to help, man, I'm always here.
Right. We appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah.